Hello, my name's Travis Newbill. I live and work here at Shambhala Mountain Center, where we'll be hosting the Shambhala Queer Dharma Retreat from March 28th through March 30th, a weekend retreat that will be led by Acharya Eve Rosenthal, along with Acharya Eric Spiegel, two senior teachers in the Shambhala Buddhist tradition. I'm fortunate enough to have Acharya Spiegel here today to have some discussion related to the topic of queer Dharma. Acharya Eric Spiegel has been involved in the community as a practitioner and teacher since the 1970s. He's also spent most of his life working in finance, and since the AIDS epidemic of the 1980s, has been very active working with people who are related to illness. As he says, death and wealth are his specialties. So, Acharya Spiegel, thank you so much for joining me today for some discussion.
Good afternoon. Hi. Hello, everybody.
To begin, I thought I may jump right in to the topic. In discussing sexual orientation, the term identity is often used. And so my question is, on the path of meditation, how a sense of identity may be helpful, and also I'm wondering how identifying as this or that may be an obstacle at some points.
That's actually a really interesting question, because there's the question of being able to see through your ideas about yourself and see through your fixations about how you categorize the world and yourself within it. And at the same time, it's really important to have a sense of who you are as a person and what your personal lineage is, what your values are, and have an appreciation, a sense of appreciation for yourself in all the different aspects. And I think that's something that it's not at all limited to gay and lesbian, transgendered, bisexual people, but in the Western world or the modern world, I think that that sense of appreciation of one's wisdom and beauty is often kind of diminished or lacking, and so there's kind of both things that really end up being really essential. That on the one hand, that you really can look at yourself and like yourself and have a sense of caring and warmth, and at the same time not be so caught up with it, like not think that anything is fixed or true, because of course things are always in transition, we're always changing. There's never a time when like you can say, oh yes, that was really me and now I've moved on from that, or this is me and all those other things were there were passing phases. It's kind of all passing in some way. So
it seems like so there may be areas of ourselves to open to at times. For instance, like somebody who is opening into I guess maybe becoming comfortable with one's sexual orientation, or becoming comfortable with certain aspects of oneself. That's something that has to occur. And I wonder how the practice of meditation is helpful in that process, in opening up to various aspects of one's nature and oneself.
well, I think that as some people, first of all, we're doing this weekend, and the weekend's really open. The retreat is really an open retreat, and in the past when we've done them, we've had some people who are really advanced practitioners and some people who've never meditated before, and so there's a sense of tremendous accommodation, and that people are coming not just for the meditation, but also for some kind of community or social, I guess you could say social aspect, but or just to be in a place where they can relax and be themselves and not have any sense of fear, and also where if they need to, they can explore questions about what it means to be myself and what it means to have this or that identity or identification. And but within the practice of meditation, you know, and all these things are, nothing happens in meditation overnight. It's a really organic process. So sometimes things, to say organic really means that time is part of the mixture to that. That you, through the practice of sitting meditation and contemplation, that you actually see all different aspects of yourself, including many aspects sometimes that you don't realize are there in kind of your habitual moving through life way, that maybe you have all kinds of assumptions about yourself and about the world around you. And then as you start to sit and practice, you actually discover that there's a lot more going on, or that some assumptions are completely mythological on some level, and also the stories that we have, both about ourselves and about people in our lives, that a lot of them, we've told them so many times that the borders between truth and fiction are kind of vague on some level. And so I think that through meditation one just starts to see a deeper level, you know, and the organic part of that is that, you know, it's not like you sit and meditate and you have some great insight necessarily, but just that over time that you're constantly looking at your mind, looking at your experience, not grabbing onto it, but just seeing it very simply, like without judgment, and that gives room for a lot to occur, or a lot to come up, and so I guess the process of insight is comes through that, you know, just what you see about yourself, what you begin to know about yourself, and also what you see about yourself in relationship to others, and how you judge the world or anticipate the world, and therefore miss the actual opportunity of experiencing it directly.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a long answer. I hope it edged in with your question.
I think that it did, and a question came up for me at the end of your answer, which is, you know, it helps us relax the way that we judge the world. Then there's the other side of at least the perception that often the world or the people in the world are judging us. And does meditation help that be not so uncomfortable or such a problem, or to work with that?
Well, this goes actually back to the first question about liking yourself. And particularly in the Shambhala teachings, we use the word confidence a lot. And confidence in this case means that you have some confidence, not in your facade, but in your nature, that you actually start to, through meditation practice, you discover sort of like the inner level of what you're being, who you are, which isn't necessarily about your taste or your style. It's more rooted in like a deeper level of humanity and or humanness, and so on some level, friendly to oneself, being friendly to oneself isn't really so much necessarily about liking your particular foibles or neurosis or being proud of them or not proud of them, but it's a matter of liking, knowing who you are on a true level and having confidence in that. So that isn't really affected by the judgments of others. Whereas, oh, well, you don't like my shirt. Okay, well, that's very much a matter of taste. Or you don't like the tone of my voice or the way I use language or my age or my gender affiliation, whatever it is, Well, those are really external judgments. And so for us, the point really is to go a little bit deeper than that and find a connect with the true nature of ourselves and of each other. And that may sound very new agey, I guess, but it's actually really ancient. It's really deep-rooted, and one connection, one experiences it. We all, I think, experience it, and we experience it in times when we're not looking necessarily for anything. You might experience it just nature is, for me, one of the great places where you can point to something, you can point to an experience. So the sense of just being in sunlight or in the dapple, being in a country lane with light sort of filtering through the trees, or hearing the sound of birds, or being near the ocean and smelling that and hearing the of waves, the sea, that we let go of kind of our contrivance about getting somewhere or being away from something, even if it's only for an instant, that we actually relax and our being, our sense of I think sometimes we feel really contained within our body and within our thought process, and then periodically there are these times when we actually can open. And Shambhala Mountain Center is such a wonderful place for that kind of thing because it's so vast and so open. And in the 70s, I had the really good fortune to be able to do a lot of retreat at what is now Shambhala Mountain Center, at that land and in those mountains, and and I always found that to some degree you really see yourself there, because there's so, like in the city, everything bounces back very quickly. You're walking down, you get so much feedback in the city, and out at SMC, it's like you have a thought and it can just go and go and go, and it doesn't really come back for a long time. So, and I'll, so I think I'll leave it there.
The land is awesome.
Yeah.
I enjoy living here, and I look forward to having you and all the participants for this program here in just a little over a month. Is there anything about the particular retreat, the Shambhala Career Dharma retreat, that you'd like to share, tell people about?
Well, the first thing is that it has a boundary, right? So the boundary is that to come to it, you have to be self-identified as, um, I guess, basically as not uh, heterosexual and any other uh, kind of any other uh, gender or sexual affiliation, then that is comes within the queer um, container. And so then within that, there's a sense that we can talk with whatever pronouns we feel comfortable with, you know, and a sense of everyone being open to the joy and suffering that exists in all different forms. And the program itself will naturally include meditation and instruction in meditation and guided instruction in meditation. So a lot of support for people who are newer or brand new, but also both Acharya Eve and I have strong backgrounds in physical disciplines. Eve is a Tai Chi teacher and has been studying Tai Chi for decades and decades. And I'm a certified yoga teacher, although I don't generally teach yoga classes. I have a lot of body awareness and movement awareness within my teaching. And then also there'll be some talks and a lot of room for discussion, both as a group and within kind of gender breakout sections, and then also some time, as I've described, really, you know, depending on the weather, of course, but connecting with the openness of mind and the openness of one's senses in the natural world. And hopefully, you know, if everything cooperates, you know, there are some wonderful things at Shambhala Mountain Center, such as the Great Stupa, and we hope that we'll have a chance to go up there and have a meditation session or in the Great Stupa, sitting with the giant statue of Shakyamuni Buddha, and maybe other walks and experiences as well. So.
Okay, well, I'm so looking forward to having everyone here. And thanks again so much for taking the time to talk today, Acharya.
Thank you very much, Travis, and I look forward to seeing you. Also, we'll be doing an online broadcast. Eve Rosenthal has already done an online broadcast related to this, but open to everybody, available to anyone who wants to watch it and be part of it, which is available on Shambhala at shambhalaonline.org. And you can, if you don't see it right away, you can click, you can search within Shambhala Online for Queer Dharma. And I'll be doing one, I think it's March 16th, next Sunday. And you can either participate live or watch it at any time you would like by going to shambhalamedia.org.
Great. I'll include a link to that in the blog where this is going to be found also. And I'll be doing an interview with Acharya Rosenthal next week, so that'll be available too. And I'll make sure that everything links to each other, so if you find one thing, you'll find the rest. So thanks to you, and thanks for everybody for tuning in. And we'll see you or hear you or speak to you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.